So I was just watching The View today, and they had on John Andrew Boehner, the former Speaker of the House of Representatives from 2011 to 2015. And basically, he had some rather, to put it kindly, dumb things to say. And the only reason I even wasted my time watching the interview was because I was actually curious to see if John Boehner could make it through an interview without crying. I mean, I haven't watched the whole interview yet, so maybe I'll have more to say about that. Maybe he did cry, but in the segment that I watched, he didn't cry. So I was very surprised and impressed that he didn't cry, which is unusual for him. But anyway, the thing about that interview, first of all, I liked how Joy Behar asked John Boehner if the members who participated in the insurrection should be charged. And he really avoided and dodged and just tried not to answer. And I'm like, okay, come on. Like, you can't even say something that simple. Like, it's just embarrassing for him. And it shows that he's trying to weasel his way out of things and just avoid taking a stand or a right position or on really anything. And then Sonny Hostin asked John Boehner if he bears any responsibility, if he thinks he bears any responsibility for what the Republican Party has become, and then he totally denied it. And I'm like, well, yes, you do bear the responsibility. You support the same exact policies, and you enabled them, and you always worked with them, and you helped create that party. So, um, I mean, they like endless war. You like endless war. They like tax cuts for the rich. You like tax cuts for the rich, and so, I mean, you agree on policy and you really help them get to where they are, so you might as well take responsibility. But no, he's not going to do that, of course, because he's a little weasel. And then, of course, Meghan McCain and her ridiculously foolish line of questioning. Oh, before we, yeah, but yeah, actually, let's get to this first. Yeah, so Meghan McCain and her ridiculously foolish line of questioning, she's saying, "Oh my gosh, Barack Obama never reached out to Republicans, and I see Joseph Biden is doing the same thing." But no, first of all, Barack Obama reached out to Republicans too much and tried to give them everything they wanted, and that's the same thing that Joseph Biden has been doing for the past several years, and seems to be improving a little bit now, but not by a lot. And so, like, there's the false narrative that Joseph Biden is too far left when really he's not left enough. But anyway, and then John Boehner uses that opportunity to just attack progressive Democrats and say, "Oh my gosh, those crazy progressives, Joe Biden is catering to them and he's like so beholden to them and everything. That's why he's not working with Republicans." Like, no, the thing is, Joseph Biden is not working with progressives at all, and he's just not really doing anything progressive. And he's basically 70% Barack Obama, 20% Ronald Reagan, and 8% every other Republican president, and then like 2%, like 2% maybe FDR or LBJ, but like he's mostly doing what he's always done, which is being a neoliberal corporatist. But then, of course, the Republicans have the false narrative that Joseph Biden is some far leftist, and that's not true. That's just not true. And they like to complain that he's not working with them when really he worked for them his entire life. And yeah, and of course there's a false narrative that Obama was some sort of leftist when really he was basically a moderate Republican, as he said himself in an interview. So another stupid question from Meghan McCain, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, Biden signed too many executive orders, like 50." No, it's not enough, and it depends on what the executive orders are. I think Meghan McCain is very lacking in her understanding of a lot of things. Actually, it's pretty obvious that she doesn't know anything that she's talking about. But anyway, my point is, Meghan McCain seems to have a problem with that Joseph Biden signed a lot of executive orders. Well, how about you, Megan? You point out each executive order specifically and say what you don't like about it. Like, for instance, he signed an executive order repealing the Muslim ban. So, Megan, why don't you tell us what you don't like about that executive order? And then why don't you tell us what you don't like about something else and this executive order and that executive order and all of that? Be specific, Megan. Just don't just say he signed too many executive orders. Like, come on, like, get your head straight. But anyway, most of the John Boehner interview was pretty much garbage. Actually, all of it was garbage, and he had nothing of substance to say, and I'm really impressed that he made it through without crying, although I have to watch the whole thing and maybe he does cry in it, so we shall see. Honestly, it's just another sad attempt of people trying to be relevant and stay relevant. And of course, Boehner is trying to distance himself from Trump now when really Boehner was pretty supportive of Trump, remember? And he was, yeah, so Boehner is just trying to rewrite history. So my suggestion is this book is probably not worth anyone's time, and John Boehner is not worth anyone's time, so it's really just a waste. So don't bother.